But we're glad you're here because sleep is so important on so many reasons. And I feel like it's something that kind of eludes a lot of people, unfortunately, is they're not getting enough sleep. And that could kind of obviously have impacts for your day.
It really does affect your entire health. I believe that sleep is the number one foundation for having a healthy body, right?
Yeah.
It's what we need to recharge our brains, recharge our metabolism, our cardiovascular systems. If you don't get the right amount of sleep or it's interrupted, then those things fail.
It's really like kind of like you plug your iPhone in every single night. It's kind of the same thing with your body, right?
Exactly. If you don't plug it in or it doesn't get a full charge, you wake up and you look at your iPhone and it's only got, a half a battery and you're like, darn, that's not going to get me till noon.
No, right.
Well, the body is the same way. It's not going to get us through our whole lifetime if we continue to sacrifice sleep or ignore signs and symptoms of a sleep disorder, things like that.
We have live audience. And Sherry Nevada Pup we already have questions for you.
So
My goodness, how exciting. Sherry says, I take magnesium and or melatonin every night. So do I. I take both. And also being retired, I have no schedule. So I let my body tell me when to sleep and when to wake up. Good, bad? What do we think?
So I love melatonin and magnesium. Melatonin's a tricky one because you need to make sure you take it early enough for it to get into your system. Otherwise, it can cause you to be a little groggy and not want to wake up. I really encourage the same bedtime and the same wake time, especially. But if you do wake up within 30 to 45 minutes of the same time every day, I think that's completely fine. It's just consistency is what you want.
Someone told me that melatonin will mess with hormones. Is that true?
I don't know for sure exactly how it messes with it, but it can. And, melatonin, your body creates it naturally. So I don't take melatonin because I want my body to create it by itself.
Okay.
And so I feel like if I take it, I'm a little bit concerned that it might cause me not to make it on its own.
Sure. That's what I've heard before is that there could be a negative effect to melatonin because if you are taking that supplement, your body's like, well, I'm getting it from another source. I don't need to make it.
Yeah. And your body will naturally create hormones, melatonin through its natural hormone process, especially if you're doing the things that you should, like that nighttime routine, the power down hour, the hot bath or shower, dropping your body temperature, having your room cool, things like that.
This is interesting. So I take melatonin. I take a lot of melatonin every night because,
you have a messed up schedule. You're a shift worker.
Our schedule's tough, and then I think I'm just like a high energy person who's always on the go. So I have to be extremely exhausted to sleep. So I'll take anywhere from 24 to 30 milligrams of melatonin plus magnesium. But you're saying it messes with your hormones. So is that now for the rest of my life, or do I stop taking it and then my body will start producing it again? Or how do you know when you're at risk of that happening?
Well, I'm not really sure how you know, because again, a physician would probably be the best person to answer that. But again, I think anytime that you can naturally fall asleep and stay asleep, that's what you would want.
Okay.
But you're a shift worker, right? You have to wake up in the middle of the night. So these are things that you'll have to work with. But over time, you should be able to wean yourself down and get your body back to naturally. And it is hard. It's a very difficult job what you have. It's tough.
Let's talk. You mentioned something that kind of struck my interest here. You said a nighttime routine. How important is that to kind of follow that nighttime routine? Because that, after you do it a while, it kind of gets maybe your mind and your body ready for sleep, right?
So our bodies are creatures of habit, right? So we have a circadian rhythm, and that's our biological clock. And so it's really important that is set naturally, right? So by having a power down hour before you go to bed, deleting all the screens in our eyes, because any type of light will stimulate the brain to want to be awake. So you need to power down, start to have a cool...
And you said that's about an hour before?
An hour before, right? Journal. I encourage people to write down like 3 things they're grateful for. And if you had a rough day, write all that stuff down too, but end it with 3 things that you're grateful for, because it's really good to prepare the brain to fall asleep and have good dreams too.
Maybe
right?
This is a silly question. I love to read before I go to bed. It really calms me. But now I've gotten to reading my Kindle, which is a light. It's a screen.
And the Kindles are designed to be okay for that. That's an okay light. So
And we have Lil Philosophy asking, is alcohol before sleep okay? And then Sherry is also asking, how early before bed should I take the melatonin and magnesium?
I would recommend the melatonin and magnesium right at dinner or after dinner. The magnesium you can do a little bit later than dinner, but I would take the melatonin at dinner. And then the other question,
Alcohol.
alcohol, no. So there's a happy hour for a reason. If you want to be happy from alcohol, have a happy hour. But alcohol will fragment your sleep. So if you have alcohol to fall asleep, that's a bad idea because when it wears off, the brain wakes up and your blood sugar drops and your body wants more. So all you women that wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning and you're like, you don't know why, you probably are having, the cocktail or the wine too close to bedtime. So I encourage if you, want to have a glass of wine, then have it at, happy hour.
Sure. Let's get back to that routine because we're kind of going, so we do our little wind down.
Yeah, routine.
The problem that I think a lot of people have, and I think this is your issue, my issue too, as soon as you lay down into bed, all of a sudden, like the next
That's
day,
wheels are turning.
That's where the
wheels
journaling
keep turning.
That's where the journaling will really help you.
Before bed, you just kind of...
So you write it all down. You write out your next day. You think about what you're going to do the next day, but you need to do this at least 1 hour before you go to bed. And then you get into that calming practice, right? So what is it? Is it maybe you do a little meditation? Maybe you read your Kindle, a book in a low light, take a bath, take a shower, have some herbal tea. So if you get into that routine, then the body knows, oh, I'm supposed to be getting ready to go to sleep.
So speaking of routines, we have some myths and some information that we found, but research says that one thing people should do is shower before bed. They will sleep better. When you're increasing that body temperature, when you're changing that body temperature, let me see if I could find exactly.
Oh, here, I'll tell you. So it's really interesting because our core body temperature needs to drop substantially in order to create the most melatonin, right? And the hormones that help you fall asleep and stay asleep. So you think take a hot bath and a hot shower. Well, they do say don't take too hot. So do warm bath or warm shower because when you step out of that shower or the bath, your body temperature drops. And then that increases melatonin, which helps you fall asleep and stay asleep. And then you asked me about socks, wearing socks.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite thing, I have one pair of socks. In fact, they're unraveling.
Is not good.
They're like these old man socks, but they're so warm. And I get neuropathy because I'm a breast cancer patient. And I wear these socks and they help regulate my body temperature to where I don't get those pains down my legs and feet. So if you're someone out there that struggles with that, and a lot of people do, try wearing some
Socks to
heavy
bed.
duty socks that are going to keep your
Even in the summer?
feet warm. Even in the summer, I
Really?
do it. Well, we have your air conditioning on. You're
That's
supposed
true.
to sleep at 65.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I
our
say-
next topic.
Yeah, I say 67, but you should lower your temperature. If you, we live in Arizona, and this is really difficult to do.
And I
And
was
it's
going to say, in this
expensive.
economy,
Yeah.
But, you can get your room down below 70 with a fan.
okay.
Or you can do these cooling things that they have now. There's a lot of different ways without, giving all your money to APS and SOP.
You're talking about neuropathy. Charles David just asked, pain keeps me awake and it's difficult to get into a good position. I'm not quite sure what his
the pain
is.
Bless all of you out there that are suffering in pain because I've been there and it is very difficult because the brain needs to fall asleep. But if all it feels is pain, it's really, really difficult. So I just highly recommend that, you have a great pain doctor that can help you work through. There's some biofeedback things, meditations work great. But yeah, getting into a comfortable position so that you're not in pain would be my recommendation.
I was going to ask you too, when, I've got a lot of friends that are maybe on some of the medications like the Ambien, THC, things like that. When you take a medication like that before bed, is that still, obviously you're falling asleep, but are you getting beneficial sleep? Are you getting that recharged, good sleep that we want?
Is that called REM sleep? No.
Yeah. No, well, so we have stages of sleep, right? So there's REM and non-REM, and there's like 4 different stages, stage 1, stage 2, stage REM, and there's some stage 3 and 4 that we would see like more in kids or younger adults. Those are the deep sleep, the 3 and 4. The REM is where we dream and where your body has no muscle tone except for your eyes and your diaphragm. But taking sleep aids to sleep is should only be used for a temporary situation.
Okay.
Like, I don't recommend, if you're on sleep aids, you should get off, right? And we have people that can help you do that. There's cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. We have providers that do that. I'm anti-medicine. I'm anti-THC.
Even with our
Yeah.
schedules, though?
We're talking about the general public. We'll get into our schedule later.
Or shift workers, for example.
Yeah.
So we have nurses who work overnight. We have doctors who work overnight.
Right.
There are a lot of people. And these days, I mean, people work really crazy schedules.
Yeah,
and
shift workers are an exception, and you got to do what you got to do
so
to
we
get
can
to
keep
sleep and
taking
stay asleep.
Our gummies. I'm just kidding.
Very addictive. I will tell you that. The body wants
really?
it. Oh, yeah.
Especially those Ambien, because there was like the
Yeah.
studies that talked about how addicted it can be. And Xanax, I know that's like habit forming. Those people get addicted.
Yeah, and people
to some
don't
of those.
understand that Xanax is not a sleep aid. Xanax is an anxiolytic. Like, it helps you calm down. It's not. It actually interrupts sleep too. Like, there's a lot
Really?
of a lot of these drugs are, they have side effects that can, mimic things, and it's not good for your brain or body
Sure.
to take them. So
Someone mentioned earlier in the chat that you have a very calming voice.
Yes.
Do you see me over here? I'm
Yes,
like,
we're both like,
yeah, keep talking. This is great.
That is
we should
so
record
funny.
this and just rewatch
Do you know that
it.
I never knew I had a calming voice until I was like 49 years old? When I took a yoga teacher training class, someone said, so my grandma name is Lala. My name's Laurie, Lala. And by the way, hi, Ellswick. Hope
Oh,
you're
yes,
watching.
we have to say hi to your grandson who's watching.
And she said, Lala, you have a very calming voice. And I was like, if you told my 3 adult children that I had a calming voice, they would all laugh in your face. And I was the oldest sibling of 4. So I think I was always bossing everyone around. So what I learned in this yoga teacher training is that I had a calming, powerful voice, and there was power in my voice. And so I did do, for a while, did some yoga nidra, which is yoga for sleep. And so I do have some recordings out there. So if you like my
really?
voice,
Oh, well, look
you
for
can
that.
go over to Valley Sleep Center's YouTube and you look for yoga nidra and put yourself to sleep. And I think there's even a laurileadley.com or something.
Okay.
And I don't even know.
We'll find it for
I
you.
like
I
my
did a
voice.
special project on yoga nidra, and it was have you ever tried it?
No.
You're literally laying down and
It's beautiful.
doing nothing, and they talk you through.
And it's called yoga?
Yeah,
I
yoga
thought
nidra.
yoga, like
No,
by
it's not
definition,
yoga,
you have to
but-
move.
No.
But
Yoga nidra.
I didn't know if I was sleeping or if I wasn't sleeping, but I woke up and I was like, I don't know where I was.
But you were not on the same planet?
No.
We
it
got
was-
about 10
We're
seconds
the same
left.
city.
Oh,
Okay,
I
you're
love that.
staying close.
Stay
Yeah.
close.
Okay. Hi, welcome back. We're
All right.
Googling all these all this information because it's really fascinating, like you said, Ty. Sleep or lack thereof affects
Everyone.
Because even if you get sleep and I don't, and I come in crabby, it's going to affect you.
Yeah, because I have to deal with her.
Yeah, mood. It definitely
Or
affects
vice
your mood.
versa.
Hey,
Vice
you know what?
versa.
I've actually gotten a lot better at sleep. Let me tell you, we were just kind of in the break talking about kind of calming down the mind. And I think that was my hardest part about getting good sleep is that as soon as I lay down, I'm thinking about the next day. I got to do X, Y, Z. I can't forget this. I can't do this. Fox actually gifted us a subscription to the Calm
did?
app.
Yes, I do that for my employees
Downloading.
too.
Download the Calm app.
Yes,
They have this thing on there. It's called like Sleep Stories.
yes.
And it helps me so much because you're listening. It's like someone reading you a bedtime story, and they have like the very calm voices
Yeah.
like this.
Like Laura's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Lauri's
yours.
voice.
It's gonna be my next job.
You should. You would be great. But
They
you
have
know,
yoga nidra on there too.
do they really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to look at that because it really does help. Kind of just you're focusing on what they're saying, and all of a sudden, I don't think I've ever finished an entire story. But like, there's all sorts of kind of tips and tricks. But you really do kind of, when it comes to sleep, you kind of have to try a lot before you find something that works for you.
You have to figure out what disconnects you
Yeah.
from life.
Mm-hmm.
And once you find that, whether, it's a workout, that calming routine, but you'll, even if you just find a thought, right, or something you love to do, I tell everybody, what do you love to do? Like, do you love to golf? Do you love to sit on the beach? Like men, a lot of men golf, I golf. Imagine yourself playing Pebble Beach. You probably won't get to the second hole. You'll fall asleep.
Really?
So you have to think of something that you're doing that relaxes you and that you love, like sitting on the beach, listening to the ocean, playing with your grandchildren, playing games. Like I love to play games with my granddaughters who live in Australia. I don't get to see them very
Oh,
much.
how fun.
Yeah, and I just got back, but I'll think of myself playing cards with Zoe and Millie, and I can go to sleep. you know?
Lewis Joseph is saying Sirius XM has a calming station, FYI.
Yeah.
And Jen Walls, I'm with you on this one. It's not the trouble falling asleep as much as waking up every 2 to 3 hours. It's horrible. That's exactly where I am. And then PHX Mafia is saying, I heard if you sleep with a lot of pillows, you will sleep better.
A lot of pillows. Well, if you snore and you have upper airway resistance or sleep apnea, sitting up with a lot of pillows will open your airway.
Okay.
So when you lay flat, if you have any, especially women over 50, we're all of our airways are going to collapse. We're going to snore at some point. If we don't snore, we'll make noises. Like it happens. All the women over 50, we lose our elasticity in our skin. We lose our elasticity in our airway.
Oh, wow.
So if you
Men don't though?
Oh yeah, they do too. But we're
This is not fair.
No, they do too. No, but I'm just saying every woman over 50 will probably develop some sort of sleep disordered breathing, but a lot of men have it earlier. So if you do struggle with any of this, there is positional things that you can do that can help keep the airway open. But, the best thing to do is just get diagnosed, get a CPAP, get an oral appliance. Now we have even a surgery, Inspire, that you can, which is what I have because I snore like a man. I have severe sleep apnea and I couldn't do CPAP and I couldn't do an oral appliance. So I have Inspire.
What's an oral appliance?
An oral appliance is like you wear it over your teeth. A dentist,
okay.
A dentist makes it and it just helps either project your tongue forward or just open up. They even have new technology now that's expanding and opening the palate.
Oh.
Wow.
And they're doing this a lot in kids because having your palate opened up will open up the airway too.
Interesting. Charles is asking, are there certain foods, you mentioned alcohol is something that you probably want to avoid. What about foods? And I've often heard that you probably shouldn't try and eat your dinner, then go right to bed or go to sleep on an empty or rather on a full stomach.
Caffeine. We know to avoid caffeine.
Yeah, no caffeine, no chocolate. People forget that chocolate ice cream has caffeine in it. They give their kids a bowl of chocolate ice cream and then they wonder why they won't go to sleep. Or Cocoa Puffs, yeah.
No Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, no Cocoa Puffs. I would say just, eat your meal by, I like eating windows, like have your food in like a 12 or 16 hour part of your day, whatever that is. And then don't have anything, after 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, depending on, what time you go to bed. I go to bed at 10, so I try not to have anything after 7 if I can.
Wow, that's willpower.
Well, you want your body to, and you get used to it. I mean, I'm not hungry, right? I don't get hungry, but.
Can you talk about if folks wanted to come and actually do a sleep study, what goes on?
Yeah.
What is the process? What does it look like?
Sure. So we have about 27 different sleep providers that are either physicians, nurse practitioners, or PAs, physician's assistants, and they see you in consultation and they do an assessment and they kind of figure out, okay, does this person benefit from having a home sleep test? Like you can get tested in your home. It's now just a little thing you wear on your finger. It's so easy. Or you can come to the sleep center and get hooked up and do a full, what we call polysomnogram. And it tells us everything about your body.
So you'll sleep at the sleep center?
Yep. You'll spend the night. You'll have your own private room, your own private bathroom. There's even showers available. You can take a shower and go to work. And you check in around 8:30 at night. You're out of there by 5:30, 6 a.m. And we get all this information. And then the doctor, the board certified sleep medicine physician, looks at all of it. We even get like a whole overnight of your heart and your heart rate and your rhythm. We can see if you're having any heart arrhythmias, things like that. And then we kind of determine what sleep disorder. What we see 90% of is sleep apnea. That's what most of our people
And that is
struggle
what
with.
exactly?
So that's where there is a decrease in your ability to take a full breath and oxygenate your body. So your airway collapses. So it either totally occludes or it occludes a little bit, which so an apnea is without breath. And then a hypopnea is just like a decreased breath. So we'll see you breathing normally, and then you'll start to breathe less, or you'll totally occlude and stop altogether. There's also something called central sleep apnea, where the brain doesn't tell the body to breathe. And we see that a lot in neurological disorders like ALS, things like that. And then you need probably ventilation Like you need help, you need CPAP with backup breaths, or, eventually some of these people end up needing full ventilation.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is very. Can we go back to, I think it was Sherry, I'm not quite sure who said she can fall asleep, but she can't stay asleep. She's up every two to 3 hours.
And that's where I really encourage that the routine at night, the power down hour, the routine things that I talked to you about, and then that place that you're going to go to. So if you do wake up, first of all, determine what's waking you up, okay? I have to get up to go to the bathroom. That's pretty normal at my age. But, go to the bathroom, go back, and then go to your place, right? You're swinging your golf club, you're sitting in your chair on the beach, you're playing with your grandkids. Go to your place, because as soon as you wake up, if you go to your place as quick as you can, you won't wake up all the way. And then if you're still doing that, you might want to get a sleep study so we can see what's waking you up.
That's what I was going to ask you. When do you know that you might need to seek professional help from someone like yourself?
So excessive daytime sleepiness. So you can't get throughout the day without wanting to take a nap. Shift workers are different.
Yeah.
They're a challenge, but or that you're just waking up constantly all night. I think that if you can't go to sleep for at least 6 to 8 hours every night consistently, and you do feel that excessive sleepiness throughout the day, you need caffeine, you need stimulants, then you should come see us.
Can we talk about naps?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
I
love a good nap.
I love them.
But I'm not a good napper. I would love to be a good napper. Like I would lay down and I think I can do like 10 minutes and I'm like, all right, I got to get up.
Oh, no. Saturdays and Sundays, my days off.
You can take a big
I can do
long
like
one.
a 2-hour nap, sometimes
amazing.
3.
Well, I love that nap hack, the coffee.
What is that one?
Oh, you
I talked about that.
That's a good
So
one,
I got to do this because I just traveled to Australia and back, and I feel like I conquered this whole going halfway across the world and back. I flip my circadian rhythm when I get there, and I flip it when I get back. And that nap, if you drink caffeine and then lay down for 15 or 20 minutes.
So have your shot of espresso.
Yeah.
Go immediately take a little nap.
Yep. And then when you wake up, you don't have that groggy feeling.
Because that
the
caffeine starts to kick in.
There's a
time to
in
kick
about
in.
15, 20 minutes.
That's smart.
Yeah,
That's a
I love
good
that.
hack.
But we're
But are
big-
naps okay?
Yeah, naps they're fine. I think 20 minutes. If you go into 30, you run the risk of getting into REM, and that when you wake up in a REM cycle, that's when you feel that groggy. And you get this bad sleep inertia, which is where you could go to sleep in the next hour easily. I don't recommend it.
Can you catch up on sleep? That you
sleep debt,
right?
Yeah, we call that sleep
those
debt.
naps. I mean, if I get a good night of 6 hours, 2 thumbs up. So that's why we nap on weekends.
Yeah.
Are we catching up
I think
or?
There's some controversy behind it, but I would say yes, sleep when you can if you're tired. And if you feel good by Monday morning, you're not getting sick. I would say if you're not getting enough sleep, you're gonna get sick. Your body will give out in some way, shape, or form eventually. You're gonna know. I know. You guys are young. I'm sorry to scare you.
No, it's all right.
that's okay.
This is what we need to hear this because this is so interesting because I do think that sleep is one of those things that sometimes eludes a lot of people
It
and
does.
they
Well, let me give
It's
you an example.
frustrating.
So when we fall asleep, our whole metabolism is restored. And one of the things that happens is our blood pressure drops about 30%. So if you're not getting the right amount of sleep or that sleep is interrupted from what I called sleep disordered breathing, that blood pressure never goes down. So you're constantly walking around with this blood pressure that never got to go low enough to restore the metabolism and the cardiovascular system. And then that's the first thing that happens is people get high blood pressure. So if you have hypertension and you've never had a sleep study, I highly recommend that you come get one.
interesting.
Yeah.
Charles David is asking, is 8 hours really that golden number
For
for
the
sleep?
goal.
Do you
For
need
adults.
you need 8 hours?
7 to 9 is what we say. Yeah. Yeah.
7 to 9.
Is
Okay.
10, 11 too much?
Too much.
Too
Oh,
much.
it
Too
is?
much. Yeah.
Oh,
For an
Ty's
adult.
like, oh, that's me.
Okay, let me ask you this. I have become obsessed, maybe a little too. I wear my Apple Watch to bed every night because it tracks your sleep. And I get the biggest rush out of seeing how
7
well I slept, but
hours.
also I get so kind of hard on myself when I see those awake little bumps in the night.
Well,
Do you think tracking your own sleep is helpful or detrimental?
as long as you're celebrating the wins and you don't beat yourself up
Too much?
Yeah, because cognitively you can kind of, if you think about it too much, then it starts to affect your ability to fall asleep. right? So insomnia, the medical diagnosis of insomnia is literally the inability to escape one's thoughts. That's what it
Oh.
is. That's what it is. So if you're thinking about,
Yeah, see, it's like
Sometimes
it's my game I
yeah.
play with myself. I'm like, let's see what I get this morning, baby.
We have a
Let's-
minute left. How do
Okay.
people get a hold of you?
so valleysleepcenter.com. Also 480-830-3900. You can text if you want a consultation. And then me personally, I'm Laurie Lynn on Instagram, and then Laurie Leadley on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look
Reach
at that.
out.
Sleep
Keeps
duration
tracking.
last night.